Okay, welcome back. It's 6 o'clock. Should be some games pretty soon to check out. Let's have a look on the events list. We'll put board 1 up. It's going to be replaced anyway pretty soon. So this was from before. We'll put board 2 up. I think that'll just get replaced actually. If we just put boards 1 to 4 up. Okay, and we'll put an analysis board on the right, the convention. Okay. Oh, have they all been taken away? Okay, we'll leave that for a moment. Let's check the site. So it should be quite exciting. I think this 6 o'clock session. What are we in store for? Michael Adams against Adams-Anand. That should be fun. Sadler against Swidler. Istrachescu against McShane, and Railson against Kramnik. Aha, we've got the links here. Sadler against Swidler. Adams against Anand. And we got Railson against Kramnik. Whoops. Whoops, not that one. Close that. Railson against Kramnik. Somewhere. This one. Maybe it hasn't started yet. Well, I think we've got Adams-Anand. See if we can switch between them. So there's Vidler, Adams-Anand, Railson Kramnik. And what was missing? The Istrachescu game. This one. I can't seem to load. I was there. Put that over there. That would help. And okay, so I think my favourite game right now, without any moves, is probably Adams against Anand. Adams is one of my favourite British grandmasters. I've seen a lot in real life chess. On his way up, amazing player, amazing talent. He glides the pieces very elegantly actually as well. If you watch him play, I don't know if he still does that, really glides the pieces. I've seen these like amazing positional crushes in the past when he was rapidly making his ascent on the British chess scene. I think one vivid one was trebling on the H file slowly in the sort of French defence. The opponent couldn't really do anything, and it was just awesome to watch. And he's been a Super GM for a long time now. So, and there were rivals, even in the world, I think, under 21 championship. Anand and Adams were kind of rivals, but yeah, let's see. So C4. c5, g3. So Adams has definitely broadened his opening repertoire. I think he used to just use e4 mostly, and in recent years he's been doing this sort of stuff, widening repertoire. I guess with all the chess databases and information, it's good to have an unpredictable opening repertoire. Oh, English refugee, you're saying Adams and Anand are already through to quarterfinals. I hope they don't have a quick draw. Oh yeah, should be fun then. Cool. F3, this is kind of anti-Grunfeld system, very popular. So CD without any structural damage with a knight takes c3, no knight on c3, so but this happens anyway for e4, knight b6. Quick d4. So it's a bit like a Sicilian defense position, without losing that c pawn for the d pawn. Sort of dragon with white castling kingside, playing a kind of Moroxy bind. So the queen actually might end up going to h5 here to be a nuisance, or just to sort of try and exchange off queens, possibly. Okay, this is going to be interesting. So queen d2, it looks as though it's knight ge2 would be probably awful because of knight c4. So protecting d4 more safely with castling queenside. Actually, if I'm going to leave for a moment to have something to eat, it wasn't actually great timing, but if I put board 2 on, we'll come back in a moment. So it's had this villa and boards 1 and 2, virtual boards 1 and 2. Okay. I wondered about knight h3 there, in that position we just had. I suppose that's all theory. I suppose there was f6 or something, if needed. Let's just quickly check that out of interest. Probably all like new theory. It's getting very trendy, this line. If we just go back for a moment here, that was knight h3 crazy. What would have happened here? Oh, just f6. Yeah, because otherwise if ab knight g5 there's no defense really here, but f6 it was okay. Okay. So we have this position, so c4 is covered at the moment with this knight. And some juicy sort of dynamism here. What about something like, I don't know if like something like f5 would be totally outlandish. If I played f5, let's play the f takes. This knight g5, I don't know if that's useful here. Knight takes e5, hitting the queen. Wow, these moves have been rattled out quickly. What is going on here? It's knight e4, knight back to f3. Has this all been prepared or something? c5, bishop d3. Now if knight takes f3, we can flick in, I think, bishop c4 check.
Check.
To win the queen. So white seems to have an interesting position. Maybe e5 coming up. Or even h4, h5. Let's see. Well, the queen did swing to h5 in that board 2 game. So there may be an exchange of queens later with e4. Wow, what's happened here? This looked crazy. Ah. Looks unusual for Kramnik to play this opening. Castle queenside. So I think Ralston might be out of the qualifiers though, even if he won. This group, his group. Knight f6. So he doesn't mind bishop takes a7. Bishop a7, what would happen there? Let's check that out for a moment. Bishop takes a7. With b6 we can just play check maybe. Or is that harmful for the bishop anyway? Does it matter about the check? Let's check. King d7. We've still got this bishop trapped. And these pieces are just not doing anything. This bishop traps. No, I think this is this might not be that clever to take on a7. Let's just change and check that. It's b6. Change and check that. No, apparently b6 is not. Apparently this might be a move. Bishop takes a7. Let's just check for a moment. b6. Our rook e1. I have queen d6. Check. Apparently this is okay. This threat bishop takes b7. It's holding b8. Yeah, it's not that easy. But anyway, that hasn't been played. If we go back. My CPU's been stopped in its tracks or something. Am I still on the ICC? Have I been disconnected? I seem to be... Let's have a look. So game 1, game 2, 3, and 4, which we haven't seen much about just yet. So the English defence, I think, no, or whatever it's called. No, against e4 it's different. Aha. Oh no, it's got some strange name to it. Hay something. Haymaker defence, or something. Cornstalk defence? I've forgotten what it's called. But anyway, fascinating kind of French defence. Well, you know, with the only B6, I mean, it was got a special name. If we look at the start of it, D4, B6. I think if C4, that's like English defence, and now it's kind of Owen defence. I think Owen sort of, and it looks like a French defence structure now. I played similar sort of thing as Black and Blitz a bit. Why do I play from A22 22202? Why did I play the stone wall with black, never the white pieces? Sometimes I don't know, sometimes maybe it's more apparent to play it with black sometimes against D4 Dutch stone wall. Okay, what's happening here? Let's copy this game again. So we had not bishop takes a7, but rook e1, queen f5.
Check.
It already looks quite simplified. Yeah. Oh. Yes, getting even more simplified. Symmetrical. No, not symmetrical pawn structure. Slight difference. Is this important? That might not be the most exciting position available right now. I think this is more exciting. What happens here? Who's better here? Let's get our teeth into this. But actually, I'm just going to check on something. Back in a moment. Alright, I think I'd like to have a look at this one on the left. What's the engine elevation here? Slightly better for black, Queen C7. If we went for H4, Bishop G4. Go for this exchange sack. It's not that convinced. It's H4 business. So there's always Bishop G4 then. But it looks as though the bishop is poised for H7. Queen C7 is good defensively on H7, gives Queen G7's possibility as well. I won my game last night, but the team lost. Player down because one was playing the London Classic, Alex was playing the London Classic, and unfortunately, yeah, we had a default board. So, Queen F4,
check.
Queen takes, Rook takes. So what about Knight takes here for Knight E2? Does that not win a pawn? No, not necessarily. There's Rook F2, Knight takes. Rook takes G2. E5 say. That looks like a good position. Bishop G4. Maybe not. There's a check coming. Something to be considered, just the forcing move. Knight takes D4. It's fairly forcing stuff. Go with this then. There's a check here.
Check.
Can't do that. So we go here. Let's try and get this pawn. And then it's probably too dangerous, this knight coming in. So look at this. Where does that bishop go here? So we've had knight takes d4. Knight e2. Rook f2. Otherwise black's losing that pawn. There might be some rook g1. Knight takes d4 is not necessary. What about rook g1? Let's go back then. Rook g1. What does black do about d4 here?
Check.
So just leave that there for a sec. Rook g1. And there's bishop g4. It's a pain. So I think we want to sort of take possibly the d pawn. This e pawn does seem quite good. Knight takes, so rook takes g2. E5. The bishop's kind of restricted at the moment. I want to just get in the rook here to supporting this pawn. So what's wrong with e5 in this position? E5. E5. Bishop G4, Rook E1. Oh, these pieces are all loose for a start. Mind you, E6 here. Taking E7. It's dangerous. That's Bishop D7, I suppose. If Rook D2, actually Rook C8, actually see about just C2, using C2. And again, we've got these loose pieces again. Rook D8. Yeah, we don't want to get these loose pieces. So how to avoid that? What about just Rook D2 here? Let's challenge the Rook and sort of bring the King in here. Rook D2, fairly forcing move. What does the engine think here? Any thoughts on the engine? Okay, apparently no. Apparently it might have liked Rook D2. Yes, the engine actually likes Rook D2 here. It also likes a bit Rook DG1, but I think Rook D2 might have some legs to it. Now the other idea, I don't think E5. Yeah, because of that Bishop G4. Yeah, we got these loose pieces coming up. If Rook E1, I think that's the disaster with these loose pieces. Check.
Check.
If King B1. Actually, they can be collected like this. Rook D2, but also Rook D8 looks dangerous. There's Rook E4. But Rook D2 is even better, apparently. No, we don't want this scenario. So I think Rook D2. Looks like a good move. And there's also this one, of course, as mentioned by the engine. So, but Rook D2, that looks good. In any case, from my point of view, just trying to get the king up. Then maybe try and support the pawn later. And of course, the other rook could come to C1 later. So if the king was here, the other rook to C1, we'll be looking at Rook C7 and using the passed pawn. So let's see what's happening here. Queen C2 there. Is Kramnik trying to grind something here? Has he got a squeeze on the cards with E5, F5? The E pawn going to be too. No, I think E5 looks tempting if that's not losing anything here. E5. This is very, very closed. I mean, the bishop, if it doesn't want to trap the rook, I thought it'd go to d1, because then we'd have prospects to go to later on this diagonal. How does this rook get out? I suppose the bishop's going to get out one day on this diagonal for the rook to get out. Like f5 taking, then bishop g6 later for the rook to come out. Okay, this pawn, I don't know about this pawn here. So white usually has some big advantage on the king side. That tension, is that going to be punished, this tension release? Knight a4 is handy. Black might be aiming to sacrifice a piece later to try and make these into a dangerous passed pawn. If we try sacking a piece later on c3 or something, we'll get this passed b pawn. I don't think it's about the king side attack. I think white's advantage is massively on the king side. So white could try and win a pawn or two on the king side. f7 looks quite vulnerable. Actually, I'm not sure about black's position here. That f-file seems far too strong. With rook takes f4, we can just double it. I think this is very, very good for white, actually. So I think McShane, is he pushing his luck here? Oh, bishop c2. Why? Why bishop c2? Oh, bishop b3 check might be handy. I wonder, bishop g4. There is rook d2 again. There's annoying, like, possibilities here of knight c4.
Check.
And maybe just a blockade on e5. Followed by, this looks pleasant for black. That looks very pleasant for black. I don't know why. Oh, hang on. That's bishop b3. No, it's check. Yeah. This sort of check position. Yeah, again, I mean, it just looks pleasant for black. I don't know. Maybe it's not so bad. Bishop c2. So bishop g4. Alright, so Anand's got a huge advantage out of the opening. Has he? Oh, that looks quite interesting indeed, as you say. I mean, it looks like a frightening knight here. Let's have a look at what happened. D5. Oh no, Adam's getting hacked. This looks as like his queen's away from his king. This looks mighty dangerous, just intuitively, for white's king safety. Oh no! No, this looks, oh no, this looks terrible. I don't know if Adams can have some amazing resources here. Maybe what, g4 or something? This just looks terrible. I mean, or is it all under control? I don't know, is it all under control? If black's going to double rooks, oh, he's just sacrificed a piece with f3. Surely that wasn't that wasn't too planned to lose a piece like that. Let's see the engine evaluation here. -2. So if we played like G4, just Queen H4, and we're crumbling. If we played G takes F4, then Rook takes F4. And I think this doubling on the F file just looks mighty dangerous, actually. We're talking nearly -5 here. Knight takes F3 is crashing through. Threat on H3. This kind of crushing attack
Check.
could
Check.
have occurred.
Check.
So-
Checkmate.
So Adams sacks a piece. Doesn't look right. Sack a piece. Yeah. Black is doing very well. So something went horribly wrong. That's a very good maneuver to remember for Blitz, what happened in this game. So I thought it was a bit... when I was saying Queen H5, I wasn't 100% sure. I thought it was a bit crude maybe, but it's not even here to exchange off queens. White didn't even play for E4. So this knight gets in the way of the E pawn for knight D4 to be kind of potentially more dangerous. Going for D5. And for some reason the knight went back. So we had this horrible knight D4 with tempo. That's very elegant, just to be able to play F5 and sack that pawn with the knight protecting the rook. It's a crushing attack, isn't it? It's like a piece up now, but the attack, the mating potential has gone down a bit with this piece sacrifice. Who is through and who has a chance? I think it was said, someone said earlier that both of these two are through. I don't think Ralston has any chance even if he wins, apparently. I don't think it's Jesku. He's been losing every single game. I don't think he's through. Definitely not. He's out of it. He's not coming tomorrow. But can he win this game? His F file seems quite strong. Or is this bishop a big problem? How would White tactically do something about the bishop and rook here? Or is just F7 pressure enough? He just plays something like Queen F2. How does Black actually defend F7? Oh, actually, without this rook coming in, there's something like Bishop G6 on the cards at some point. Or Knight F5. So Queen... What about Rook takes F7? Or Bishop G6? I think actually this is quite tasty to consider. A move like Bishop G6. If he's going to go out and not come back tomorrow, I might as well go out in style. If he plays this, takes... We've got this Rook F7. I don't know, maybe that's just a piece down for not much. So he's defending at the moment adequately. So Queen F2, F3. Right, the king's not the castle here. So let's say Queen E7. Whereas Rook takes F7 anyway for Bishop G6. Alright, so the knight's coming to the rescue. The queen went there, the knight's coming to the rescue. But now this is more liable for Bishop G6 potentially. Right, Rook F7 stopped. What about Knight G4 to F6? As mentioned, McVean, yeah, Knight G4 to F6. And Bishop H7, yeah. Yeah, once we get Bishop H7, then we can treble, can't we? On the poor F7 pawn. I think this has been overcooked by Luke McShane. He's overcooked this position. He's released all the tension. I think just because it worked in that World Championship match recently with Magnus Carlsen playing this C4, I thought that was a sort of a breach of general principles to release the tension sometimes. But here, Black hasn't created a passed pawn or anything. So he's basically just given White a completely free hand on the king side. So knight g4 has been played. So as you say, we can get this bishop out to solve this problem and get the rooks for the queen to be trebled. Bishop g6, of course. Weakness of the last move here. He's neglected f8 now. Bishop g6 right on top of that weakness of the last move. So he's sorted out his rook already. I mean, that's too dangerous to take there. This crashing through is just terrible, isn't it? Isn't that terrible? White's going to just win with h-pawn needed. I mean, let's have a look at this position. It just looks like slaughter, but I don't know if it's. It just looks grim. Imagine this.
Check.
What, king c6? I suppose king c. Oh, it's queen e8.
Check.
That was knight e7. Okay, all right. Need to find a way to concretely win these things. But bishop g6 seems to be a good start. That's even quicker than knight f6 and bishop h7. Bishop's out immediately after king d7. What's the engine's thing? I think the engine's going to say like +5, I guess, or something horrendous. Is it? Oh no, it's only nearly +2. So take, check.
Check.
King c8. Take. We're not just simply take here. Nope, apparently not. Why not? Ah. Right, some tricks. This pawn is an asset, potentially. Win this pawn, the pawn becomes an asset. So white would have to be careful. Bishop g5. Knight takes h5. And if bishop e8, trying to get... Just stop. As long as this diagonal stopped, then in this scenario, apparently that's an issue to consider. Okay, I'm back in a minute. Actually, I'll just put board 2. I'll just put board 2 to have double the excitement. I mean, I'll put 2 boards. I'll be back in a moment. What's happening here? So something. Wow, rook f6. Yeah, that seems logical to get the bishop. Massive on the diagonal, actually. A huge pass pawn. Probably knight f3 now. It's going to force that to be taken. Get a huge pawn, a huge e5 square, and a huge diagonal. But knight f3, threatening knight g5, will get this huge h pawn. I think prospects remain bleak here. Now on this one, does at first glance look like piece down. Bit grim, really, one would think. And the other two, let's quickly look. Ralston against Kramnik. Now that looks a bit promising for white to take. And the rook b5 winning e5 pawn. And if take here, rook b5 winning a5. If take here, we get in the f2 pressure with king f2. That looks quite interesting for white at the moment. Okay, back in a moment. Just going to have quickly something to eat, and I'll be back in a moment. I'll try and put two interesting games on, fairly interesting, these two. happened? Okay. Oh, that looks pretty bad for black. That looks like checkmate. He got that huge bishop. Okay, we'll swap off that huge knight now. Huge f pawn. So knight h7 was threatened. Yeah, this looks pretty convincing. That was a slaughter. That opening was totally terrible, as it turned out. So white did well to keep the bishop on this diagonal, temporarily closing in his rook. That was very clever. Great stuff. I like the way white played here. They're really crushing. Okay, we'll close that off. So, this pawn stopped in its tracks. Classic blockade. It looks as though king d3, there's rook b6. It's annoying. Game drawn. Oh, the game was drawn. Have a quick look at this. So he played this bishop c2. I don't think there was any need for bishop c2. Aha, attacking the rook. Very tactical. Pawn blockaded. Yeah, perpetually attacking the rook. So what else have we got? This one seems game drawn. I thought white was going to be better after bishop e3. What does the engine think on this? How did Adams get away from being a piece down? Before we check the other one out, he was a piece down, and he came back. His two passed pawns here got him the piece back. Wow, he's a very resilient fighter, really, Adams. Just because he's a piece down, can't write him off. So he's created all these passed pawns, and they started to get him the piece back. And now he's actually... What happened here? Is it still playing? There's a draw. So there's a draw. Was it drawn? Yeah. Alright, so they're all finished. Are they all finished? So when's the next round? Is it 7:30 or? Oh, 7:30. Okay. I think I should have timed my dinner a bit more. Just waited here. Okay, sorry about that. But I'm definitely here for 7:30 session. So that's 20 minutes. Now, if bishop e3, let's have a quick look at bishop e3 here, because I thought that was quite good for white to play bishop. Oh, is it the perpetual with the check? Is that what happened? Yeah. So bishop b4 is the only kind of move, really. I mean, let's see, analyze this. Bishop check is important. Well, apparently e4 as well. E4 might be. Of course. So bishop takes, rook takes. Now if check, we've got king d4. And black would be better. So after e4, actually black might be better. D takes. Black's a tiny bit better. So I was dreaming when I was saying about bishop takes. Black doesn't have to play bishop takes. He's got two choices, e4 or bishop e3, but bishop e3 I think would be bad. I thought because of this king f2, but even here, e4, even here, so if takes, rook e6, we're getting this one, it was the structural damage has been done. So not so easy, even with bishop e3 is possible. Even bishop e3 is possible. Okay, because of this e4. So what happened in this? Oh yeah, we saw a bit of that game earlier. So yeah, it's 7:30. Is 20 minutes from now, the next round. I don't know if I should just leave this open. Should we just observe a title player while we're watching? I've just eaten chicken, so I'm going to be a disaster if I had to try a 3-minute. I think we'll just follow the strongest player on the ICC. Who's on the ICC at the moment? Chicken Monster. Red White. Is he playing? Doesn't seem to be. That sounds a bit vicious. No, maybe unfollow that. Oh, let's just carry on looking at these games then. Just give them a brief what happened in this Anand's game. No, not this Anand game. Let's see really what happened. Anything can happen in rapid though. It's much more random than classical time control. This is something to bear in mind playing black. This position makes me uneasy from the black perspective to play this sometimes. D6. So quick bishop h3. Adams is like trying to play positioning here with the d5 square for a moment. And e6 is afforded by the bishop because it's interrupting the d file. So the d5 doesn't seem to be an issue for black at the moment. he actually got rid of the kind of binds on the position. And this bishop's looking good, and this knight's looking good on d4. So that structure, there's nothing to target, really. So we saw a strange continuation after queen c2. I wonder what the idea of queen c2 really was. Was it really just to go in with queen e4? I suppose on e4 there's no f5 because it's queen e6 check. So if queen e4 was playable, then that would have been okay. But black went into this vicious gambit with knight d4, protecting e6, and now f5 is playable without losing e6. And I just thought this was terrible. How did he do this? He just assessed all the risk and just chose the lesser evil move to play f3. That's incredible. I mean, I don't think one's first thought here after winning this piece would be later that there be these passed pawns of great significance. It's only a 4-3 at the moment, so you wouldn't dream that these passed pawns are going to be significant, but it's rapid, anything can really happen. What to do? Okay, what is the concrete threat? Knight d5, that was taken. Now b4, so he's holding e2 from a6 at least, and he's controlling also the c file. Still, I mean, what would you say if you didn't know the result of the game? Wouldn't you say Adams-Anand would win this position? He's a piece up for a pawn. For a pawn, yeah? 2 pawns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 pawns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because we won the b7 pawn. Oh, Adam said his opening was a calamity in the press conference. I like the word calamity. I don't think I've used that adjective. That's a good adjective to use in. I have to collect these adjectives when I do the Blitz games. But it's amazing how. Don't you think it's amazing how he just calmly plays like these lesser evil moves like f3? So he didn't get hacked or anything. He was just a piece down. It could have been worse. He could have got totally like annihilated on the king side. But I think it's some sort of miracle that happens here in this position. How does he survive this? So as we all know, when we're kind of winning, we want to exchange off pieces. That was taken. I don't think there was many choices there, so that seems fair enough. Okay. So there doesn't seem that many problems evident at the moment. E6 was attacked. It goes forward 1. Does that shake you up for the 4-3 pawn majority? The opinion of this? Only if this pawn's taken later. So in a way, it's a more sensitive target. Could it, if it was protected, Adams is about to keep the c file, but it is shutting down the bishop as well. So at the moment, you know, it's a noun, is it? Calamity. Oh, right, yeah, that's a good point. Calamity. Adjective. Noun, yes. So, okay, so rook c1. He's dominating that c file. So he's still a piece down. How on earth? Knight d4. Now this slightly changes the configuration potentially, because this pawn over there. No, it doesn't really. It doesn't really. Hold on a sec. Check. Takes off one pair of rooks, a piece down. Protects e2. Okay. Rook b8. Seems fair enough. Rook c4. There's a potential threat here of f4 now to undermine the knight. So this knight's a bit tactically loose. It wasn't just defending the b pawn. The knight's a bit tactically loose. Rook b7. a4. I wonder if f4 had been played here. Let's just check this f4 here. So f4 can just be ignored. Alright, it can just be ignored because white's getting these double pawns. Forget that then. It's not really even a threat, f4. So a4, he's got a 2-to-1 here. Fine. That's suppressed with a6. King f2. It still seems as though it's disastrous for white. He protects his 2-to-1 pawn majority. But hold on, it's not just about defending the pawn again, is it? About bishop c3 later. See, how to swindle Anand on rapid. These kind of defensive moves disguised as attacking moves, or attacking moves disguised as defensive moves. The bishop coming to c3, if it took that, our pawn majority is more pronounced. If we knock out this pawn, we've got a 4-to-2. He doesn't have to play bishop c3 immediately, of course. He kicks the knight. It didn't go to c. It can't go to c6. Now bishop c3 coming up. If he knocks this out, you get a glimmer of hope because you get a 4-to-2. The question is, how does black defend e5 without losing a6? Hold on a sec. I can see bishop d6 going to rook a6 here. Rook c6 attacking a6. But it's like trickery. It's using the 2-to-1 pawn majority threat to actually implement a 4-to-2 pawn majority. By losing b4 for e5, we get a 4-to-2 now in this position. This is quite cunning stuff, really. So he's maximised the potential of his 2-to-1, taking that to the brink of being a serious serious enough for black to want to lose the e5 pawn, and then he gets this 4-to-2 like pawn majority. So we've achieved that 4-to-2 pawn majority, and a6 is still vulnerable. That's moved. Is it still a big deal? f4. The pawns do tend to gaining strength, though. If you just get two connected passed pawns here, then it starts to be a very serious concern for the knight. Knight c5, attacking a4, because black's got that pawn as well. Bishop d4. It was taken. So black's also winning a4. King f3. The knight at the moment is cut off. It hasn't got any squares here. Bishop's cutting it off. So we've got the 4-to-2, but now actually black's got a pawn as well. So it's only a pawn for a piece. We're back to a pawn for a piece here. But the knight kind of cut off. The king is going away from the pawns for a moment. Again, two connected passed pawns are on the cards here, with a potential fracture on the h7 pawn being isolated. If we lose this pawn, we've then got an isolated h pawn as well. So keeps a lock on the b6 square here with rook a6, keeping behind the pawn. The knight has got c3 now. It uses c3. Now we get these two connected passed pawns. With the king over here, they look potentially a bit more dangerous. The rook is also putting pressure on g6. So we have now a frontal attack issue with rook h6 coming up. But we've got the two connected passed pawns. But it's purely like a piece for like a pawn at the moment. Knight b5. That bishop's really quite good on d4. It was moved. But there is a way of trying to get rid of it again. That wasn't used here. Rook a7. Let's just check this position. Bishop c3. Apparently black is better, but with very accurate play. Okay, bishop c3. Oh, just taking. Apparently that's just not nearly equal. So black played rook a7, getting ready for his pass pawn, potentially. Threatening to take that rook off. And we'd have dangerous position here, indeed. Where's that knight going? Again, the bishop's in a very dominant position. He's actually threatening rook takes b6 now, with bishop takes a7. The pass pawns are gaining in strength. And in fact now, if the pawn's here, then this is like mating net time.
Check.
Now here, it looks as though rook h8 is very dangerous for the h7 pawn.
Check.
Alright, so black had to handle rook h8. If black doesn't handle h8, let's have a quick look here. Apparently black is better with bishop d6, tactical move. Bishop d6 is okay. If he played something like bishop c3, this is okay as well. I think he might have blundered here in giving the knight back. Also apparently bishop e7. Was this like a panic? Bishop c3, e6 check. Takes. Now if e takes, there's knight e5 check.
Check. Check.
I mean, even this position is better for black a little bit. It's tricky now. So he gives back the piece, and we're back to cool. There's an interesting underlying story there about the pass pawn potential, the pass pawn majorities, making the most out of what you've got on both sides of the board. So anyway, the next round pairings are not here yet. Should black have played e4 earlier to break up the pawns? I don't know. Well, it's a very complicated game, isn't it? Now, actually, I was kind of surprised opening was played in the Kramnik game. Kind of exotic opening anyway. Just quickly check in the last 2 minutes that Kramnik game. I thought it was a bit surprising what Kramnik's got up his sleeves. D5, centre counter. I mean, Kramnik playing the centre counter. Who would have thought? Why did white want to play h3? Is that theory or something? This queen e6 check idea seems very annoying.
Check.
Even though white's got the bishop, black's going to have control over d4 here and stop white castling. I wonder about c3. is that terrible. If we just check this position, why wasn't like c3 on knight e5 we're in that d3 square straight off the bat? If d4, just take. So we have this move d3. It seems a bit lame. Starts in 2 minutes, yeah. They're usually a bit late though, aren't they? So just quickly just check this out. This is an interesting opening to play with black. If it's given Kramnik's seal of approval, this sort of stuff can at least be used in 5 minutes, yes, surely. It seems a very, very comfortable position for black at the moment to have this, you know, pressure on d4.
Check.
He just wasn't in any difficulties at all, it seems, with the black pieces. There were no difficulties presented at all to Kramnik here from a centre counter. Isn't that incredible? Centre counter. Anyway, So the pairings are Nakamura against Polgar, Kowana against Nigel Short, Owen Jones against Boris Gelfand, Emil Sutovsky against David Howell. Sutovsky is on 0. He's been mashed. I think he was knackered after the FIDE Open, the serious chess tournament he's just come from. Paul Sutovsky. I think Nakamura will beat Polgar. Kowana will beat Short. Jones will probably lose to Gelfand. And Sutovsky will probably lose to Howell. Those are my predictions. Now my predictions were using information just on the scores that they're on. You see, I said I thought Nakamura would beat Polgar. Statistics show so far Nakamura's on 9 points, Polgar's on 4. Kowana beating Shorts. Caruana's on 13 points, Nigel's on 10. Goldwyn Jones losing to Gelfand. Gelfand's on 9 points, Goldwyn Jones on 4. Have I got that right? Sutovsky's on 0 for sure, isn't he? Howell's on 5 points. Nick White, why would you go for Nigel Short? I suppose he's not that far away from Caruana on points, but he played like a very silly game against him in the previous round. I think I'm also factoring that in. Maybe if he plays a decent opening, it would help. One where he's not completely lost after like 12 moves. That would help. I think they might have started. So Nakamura likes to play a psychological trick of playing an immensely dull opening sometimes, as though he's a dull player. So this is an almost psychological trick here with this opening. No, it's the Trompovsky. Sorry. It's just the Trompovsky. He's used it a lot, the Trompovsky. But it looks a bit like London system there, as far as like mentioning dull. It looked a little bit London system-ish. Imagine C3 now. Oh, he's actually taken here. This is very exciting now. Taken on E4. So D5, Knight C3, that sort of thing. Queen D2, Castle Queenside. And it's a completely different position to any London system. I think White's already better, actually. Let's have a look at this. White's avoiding theoretical debate, but still managing to be better. Because where does the knight go for a start? E5. Wouldn't have thought. So say this position, you know, we get Queen D2 and Castle Queenside. Any E6, we've got D6. We've also got this idea of Knight B5 sometimes. Queen D2, Knight B5. If Knight D5, Queen D5, Queen D5, Knight C7. So I think poor Judith, I think she's been this surprise weapon seems to have worked against her. I think black's already worse. I don't know what you guys think about this. If we move the knight back, that looks pathetic. Knight C3. It just looks as though, even here, it looks as though Queen D2 to stop the Queen A5 check. We're actually threatening Knight B5. It's not so bad. The Knight A6. Maybe it's just a game here. English refugee, you say Short has won 3 games in a row since his loss to Kowana. E5? E5? Right, forget taking the knight. Oh, I see. D5 is attacked. And what if we just play Knight C3 then? We've got 2 pawns attacked. How do we defend both pawns here after Knight C3? This is an interesting technical challenge. Does anyone have any ideas? How do you defend both pawns after Knight C3? I suppose black might try here, take Knight G6. The thing is that, yeah, then Bishop D6 to follow, I suppose. And, you know, there's potential for F4 later. So castle, there's no light square bishop, so this diagonal isn't so bad for this F5. I suppose you can play it like that. F5. Oh, now on Knight G6. Oh, hang on. Knight G6. There's F5, F4. No. Pardon me. F5 here. Can this be right? Oh. Alright, so we can't take on here because of D5, right? Oh, I see. So we just... I see, you're just saying just protects that one. Do I buy that? Do I... Yeah. Do I... What about D6? Hang on. D6. And then we just play knight takes E4. Oh, no. Lose D6 here. So it would seem as though F6. What does our engine think here? The engine thinks H5 here is the best move. H5. Oh, it's gone to F6 now. It's flicking between F6 and H5. So if F6, we've got a check. We're almost a pawn up here, apparently. G6, queen goes back. So now we've got castle queenside if knight D5. So if knight D5, we just castle queenside. So the engine's reckoning that this F6 is not all that because of the check, queen back here, causing some damage. Knight C3, F6. Yes, happy Christmas all to those that celebrate. I do, yes. I've got my Christmas tree sorted, etc. Yep. So I think F6 is the best move, isn't it? Because well, okay, let's go with this H5. What's the point? To try and trap the bishop, right? So if knight takes E4, no, that wasn't the point. Knight takes D5. What's the point of this? Don't quite get the point of that. So F6 was played. Oh, Naka hasn't gone with Queen H5 check. That was quite nifty, Queen H5 check. For Queen E2. You get that sort of check manoeuvre in some other variations I'm aware of to just cause some more weaknesses. He's gone with Queen D2. So Bishop F5. Aha. We just played F3 here. So we just played F3 here. Couldn't we get a nice position? Is it too slow, this sort of thing, to get E4 in? Knight G6, we get E4. Bishop goes somewhere, we get knight E2. We've got kind of a nice position, that's got this blockade on D6. Oh, he has played F3. Wow. Maybe also though knight takes F3 because the idea is simply to castle here and this F file is going to be, well, I don't know, what would we take with the knight or the pawn? What do you guys would take with? What would you take with here? The knight or the pawn? I was just wondering about taking with the pawn to get this nice pawn chain here. Let's see what's happening on the others. Lazy Short seems to have played a decent opening here. So that's good. He's got a decent opening. So Jones against Gelfand. I mean, if you looked at this game, you know, you would think it's like a computer chess game, like computers are playing it or something. Well, with white, who would think about these like rook maneuvers? You know, rook d3, yeah, and then this rook b3. Isn't that odd? To look at this stuff. So, okay, bishop g5. Why does this look terrible for black initially? Maybe it's okay. Let's just check this out. What happened here? That doesn't look that solid for a moment. Maybe it is. Maybe just rook e8 here. Rook e8. F3, that was ignored, so black's going for this blockade, and white plays F4. So maybe later. Oh, knight c4, queen c1. This doesn't look right to have that pawn there. Maybe just g5. This. h5. Mark Young, Short is dead lost in his game already. It looked like a decent opening. Let's have a look. It looks okay, doesn't it? Dunno, looks okay. I'm just wondering about this though. This doesn't look too good, that pawn on e3. Bishop d6 was played. What was the matter with g5? Was that terrible? Let's have a quick look. Alright, apparently white's slightly better. g5. Bishop just go g3. Right, it wasn't a big deal. Right, apparently white's a tiny bit better. Just castling. So castling. This bishop's loose piece needs to be moved out of the way, potentially, but the knight at the moment can capture to protect it. So if we kick the knight first, then bishop takes d6 as a threat. So this loose piece has to be dealt with. Let's just move it to g6 for a moment. Mind you, there's always knight e5. Hang on. No, I think we want to move this piece out of the way or protect it. Bishop d6 and knight g3. Yeah, it has gone to g6. Okay. Okay, knight g3 seems like an idea. Or, okay, it has been played. Because if we kick the knight, it's going to go to e5 anyway. Queen e7? Okay, queen e7. The knight's been kicked. Does it just go to e5 here? But black is losing that pawn if it goes to e5 now. So I think the queen's holding on to the pawn. If that's the idea, then the knight coming back here seems likely. So once people think about this new addition to the channel, I've only just started really streaming on the channel just recently. Do you think this is a good idea? It's different, isn't it, to the normal videos? I think it has some advantages like guess the move and stuff. What do you think? So bishop e5 has been played. Hang on, the knight hasn't moved. Bishop e5. Wow, just hitting the knight on c3. Cunning. But hang on, why can't white just connect the pawns with b takes? So if takes, we get this pressure, don't we? On b7. And also queen a3 coming up might be handy. Why can't white just take that? Bishop takes. There's also d6 to consider. Don't know if that does anything really. But rook b1. Rook b1. What would we do? What is the threat? What is the threat? Let's go with bishop. Oh, I don't know. Bishop e5. Just play b6. Let's just say play b6 for the sake of argument. That should be okay. Hang on. There's also to consider d6 here. Now if queen takes, maybe knight takes e4. And it gets a bit strange. Because this knight's hanging, we're just getting tempo. Now on d6, knight takes d6. I suppose knight takes d6. There's no big deal about knight d5. Also this rook's being attacked. Thanks, Sparso, by the way. Yeah, I kind of enjoy it much more. I've always enjoyed it much more streaming on YouTube, to be honest. Okay, so bishop takes, queen takes. So what's the idea? Can we play knight takes? Because we're going to take this anyway. So, you know, like taking protects d5. He has played knight takes. Is this pawn going to move? I mean, is this knight going to move, rather? If knight d6, I think we can just take that and play e4. Then we're looking forward to knight f5. So the knight's gone back to b6. Knight takes c5. Knight takes d5. Knight d3. So white's a pawn up. The queen cannot take it because the king's still in the centre.
Check.
It is check though. Well, we just lose that knight. Queen goes back somewhere or forward somewhere. c3. We've got e4. And then maybe e5 to try and discourage black from castling. Now where does the queen want to go here? Where? Does she want to take on? I don't think she wants to take on d3. That will bring both pawns together. So, pawn down. If queen e7, knight f4. Oh, Okay. Bishop takes d3 was played. Bit stuck here. What's happening here? While that's stuck, let's have a look at some others. Hold on a sec. So that's game 1. Kowana against short. What on earth has happened here? This looks terrible. What? How did that happen? Kowana's just imprisoned the poor bishop and stopped a6 with queen takes a6 now. But also, even worse, it looks as though, well, it's pretty bad on the queen side there, but it might be bad on the king side later. Knight f8 to be defending h7 soon. Surely rook e8 to be played here. Was there some problem with rook e8? Like e6 is forcing move. Bishop takes, there's e takes f7. If takes, there's knight e5. Don't know. Right, okay, so okay. So short is playing a bishop down at the moment. He seems to be playing a bishop down. In fact, rook a6 and rook a1 would almost threaten rook a7 if the rook wasn't holding a7. f6 though coming up, there might be knight d7, and that makes rook a6, rook a1, rook a7 more viable. I don't know, it looks like black's getting stuffed here because of rook a1, knight d7 with rook a7 on the cards, because then we'll get two connected passed pawns. Let's have a quick look at this. And I don't mean to be, that, negative about it, but I mean, we've got potentially two connected passed pawns here if we just knock out a7 for the exchange. I mean, things aren't that simple, of course. There's a little cheapo here, I think. Queen c5, there's rook takes. No, that doesn't even work, this cheapo. We can just still take this, because we're queening here.
Check.
So even queen c5 seems to be okay, but what does the engines think about this? Is it really that bad? It's plus 5.61. Queen c5. Oh, blimey. I'm sorry. It is pretty bad. It is as bad as I've said. It's apparently plus 5. But just to make sure about the rook d7, I don't think it works. C takes d7. Yeah, we're winning there. Okay. So what does black actually do here? If he moves the queen back, we're just going to play rook a7 soon. If say black, let's just give black a move, yeah, like this. Forget rook d7 for a moment. Let's give black king h8. Rook takes a7. That is the right move here, isn't it? Rook takes a7. No, I hadn't checked the engine before this. The engine is playing what I've just mentioned, believe it or not. But you see, visually, we can see these two passed pawns. We just want to use the two passed pawns. So this would be plus 27. Plus 27. Knight takes... Oh, there's queen takes e7 for a start. Mate in 5. So apparently this wasn't played. So what happened in the actual game again? After queen c5, queen takes c5, probably best. Knight takes c5. So we're just gonna. What are we gonna do here? A different plan of action. So knight c7, the rook moves. Was that accurate? Hold on a sec. Let's just copy the game there, because I want to check something in that position as well. Black had played knight c. I don't believe any move now for black. I'm just wondering about rook a7 here. Is that possible? No, rook a5 was the best. Rook a7 is apparently good as well, though. Apparently this is good as well. But rook a5 is better. And we've had some moves. Sorry, we had a lot of moves. So white has crashed through. Let's go back to the game. So whoa. Let's go back to the game. So white's now a piece up anyway. Just see the transactions quickly. So rook a5 was played. Rook a5. About to crash through on a7.
Check.
I think Caruana's getting quite good, you know. I've got a sneaky feeling he could be a future challenger to Magnus Carlsen. I think he's of the right age and potential. I know this is only rapid chess, but he seems to be good at rapid chess. I mean, that's a good sign to be good at rapid chess. So here we are, bishop up. Now, you know, the king could just come like this. We could put the bishop here. I can't see what black does about that. What happened to that opening again? That opening, I have to start. What was the opening again? It looked like a normal opening for a moment. There was queen takes d2, b3, queen c2. So white seemed to be having the bishop pair without structural damage or anything. And then something happened with this pawn majority. Whoops. The pawn majority seems to have exploded on the queen side quite quickly. Did black resign already? Did he resign? Did he resign? No, he's still playing on. I think yeah, I think probably I think a lot of you would be able to beat Nigel Short from this position. I think I could beat Nigel Short. I think it's a lost position basically. I mean, it's pretty lost. I can't see the counterplay opportunities. But anyway, something disastrous happened after the opening there. Let's go back to Nakamura Polgar. So, okay. How comes Polgar's a pawn up here? That looks as though she's doing well. That's quite fascinating. How did that happen? I'll just quickly review this again.
Check.
Check. Right. Oh, this looks rather dangerous. Ah, nice. Queen takes d3. Drag and drop tactic. Queen e3 now, hitting double attack tactic. These tactics are Judit Polgar's really tactical. She's amazing, isn't she? Some back row issues and mates on g1 here. If Queen, oh dear. This is quite vicious. Queen e3. Oh dear. I don't know why I find that funny. That this combination from Queen takes d3. I find it quite amusing. I don't know. Queen e3. Oh dear. So that's how White went pawn down. Oh dear. So Black's about to suppress these pawns with b4. And then knight d4 would seem dangerous because it's kind of unpinning the knight. So b4 and knight d4 looks quite crushing at first glance. Just the idea of b4, unpinning, then knight d4. That's quite a turnaround. I thought, I think Nakamura went wrong. You know, I think he should have played this plan I suggested. I thought that, you know, sometimes maybe the simple plans are best. Just, you know, instead of queen here, just f, or just check queen e2. That looks fairly standard to create some weaknesses. I didn't believe this queen d2 business. It's very easy to say things in retrospect, though. I tell you, the retrospect grandmaster is the one to be feared. You can say a lot of things in retrospect in chess. Yeah. But yeah, something. I thought he was going to have an advantage out of that opening. That's very strange what happened. So it seems she was her judgment was fantastic for bishop takes d3. Even though it gave White like the 2 pawns in the centre, it seems they were tactically a bit vulnerable. Did Nigel Short resign? Yeah, Nigel Short resigned that. So I think what happened in the opening was this 3-2 here turned into something horrible after b4. We seem to be 2-1, but without knight takes c4 because bishop c4. It is like a big passed pawn here, shutting down the bishop, and that's not good news generally. Winning the exchange like that is not particularly good either. So bishop a5. Was there any better move than rook c7? It looks as though black was under severe pressure. If queen b6, bishop d4. There's also bishop f6 and queen f4 here. Mind you, king g7. So anyway, losing the exchange is not good. Yeah. That was quite crushing. Yeah. Close that one off. Jones Gelfand. Okay, what is this attack about? There's always rook g7. Is this pawn coming to h6? Let's have a quick look at this. So is the pawn coming to h6? If we play h5, then surely rook g7. Or is there a problem with this? We could end up losing the queen nearly. What does the engine think here? Rook g3. Apparently white's doing well with rook g3.
Check.
Oh, hang on. There's no rook g7. Knight g6. So h5. This looks quite vicious. Rook f8. Queen g5. Rook g7. So black is already a piece up though, so it doesn't matter about losing the knight. But rook c1, got to be careful about this c file. Queen d7, taking.
Check.
Yeah. So that move was actually played, rook f8 in this position. So we just examined that, rook f8. So, Queen g5. So now this rook g7 seems logical. I think we have to take. Rook takes. Queen f4 or queen h4. Queen f4. F4 looks better actually because we want to play rook c1. keep the c1 square for rook c1. I think doesn't he have to take on g6 here? There's no other choice, is there? Just have a look. hg. What if we try something else just out of interest? I can't see what. Oh, there's rook c1. There's rook c1. Okay, queen d7. This might be better. To play rook c1 first. Then to take on g6. We can go to f4.
Check.
We've got that c file. But here, I think this rook f7
Check.
means
Check.
it should be okay for black. Even so, I think I think I'd expect him to kick the queen. Actually, yeah, he's kicked the queen, then take on g6. So queen must go back to d7 to really threaten moving the knight to h8, where it's protected by the queen and the king. So that's going to be taken after queen d7. Has to be taken after queen d7. Queen d7 looks like a very good move in the circumstance. What else can be considered here? It looks like a forced move or not. I'd say queen d7 looks sensible. He hasn't played it. Surely this is more dangerous for black's king. If rook takes g6, we've got things like queen h6. No. No. Yes. No. Possibly. d4 is going to drop after rook g3, and that's going to be check. We've got queen h5. Nope. Think about this position. This position here. Maybe just queen f4, because we've got that c file. So I don't think... Oh, he's protecting it from h4. So he's eyeing h7 as well. That's more than getting two for the price of one here with queen h4. So this rook c7 is immediately on h7. If queen takes b2, rook c7 is dangerous. More than dangerous. It looks to be winning that position. That can't be done, surely. Queen takes b2. Now, what is white threatening? If the queen is guarding c7, white's simply threatening rook takes and queen e7. So black is taken here. Queen takes.
Check.
I think this idea of gaining the queen there, because then we can get a rook over here. So I think queen h4 again, just to get the queen to e7 here, I think, for rook c7. So this is a nice bounce point, h4, to get e7 in. Doesn't matter about d4 dropping. Once we get rook c7, that's mating. Nearly. This is looking very, very dangerous for Gelfand's king, surely. Mind you, queen d8, but again, the rook and pawn ending there doesn't look so hot after rook c7. I think we can just, look forward to this position. King's cut off. We just march our king in. So I think this is great, this queen h4. I didn't notice that power of queen. That's really fascinating, that queen h4 move. I wonder how many of us would have found queen h4. I was thinking just protecting the pawn, getting ready for c7, but queen h4 is doing a little bit more on h4, that h7 pawn for rook c7, and also queen e7 as a threat. Very importantly, the queen coming to e7 for rook c7. So that's a bit of an instructive little attack
Check.
here. For this attacking position here, defending the centre, queen e7. If rook e8, queen check, this is
Check.
just all over. Rook c3. Oh, he's gone for this terrible rook and pawn ending. You're saying rook f7. Okay, before we go into have a look at the game, okay. Rook f7, we would just play check here.
Check.
And we're getting a mating attack.
Ch
That's checkmate, isn't it? Yeah? Why didn't it say checkmate?
Checkmate.
Checkmate. Checkmate. Okay, so we got this terrible rook and pawn ending. I think this is trivially winning for white. If he keeps the rook on the 7th rank, yeah, not like this game Fischer had where someone had this dominating position, took the rook off the 7th. Well, in principle, if he keeps the rook on the 7th, he should be able to just march his king. But of course, stuff like that happens, so it's not so easy. But he's got two connected passed pawns immediately if he just takes on a7. Okay, he's not going to easily get his king out of here. But he's got this a pawn. I think he just takes... Well, does he go for e6? I think we just want this a pawn to charge up the board, surely. Because it's potentially two connected passed pawns anyway. So this position... Maybe we can even just flick in rook e7 here. And the thing is, if the rook's really going to leave for b2, right, I think then we can start sort of... Actually, in this position, a4... No, it's not. No, forget that. In this position, king g here... Let's just sack both of those pawns as an example.
Check.
We get this position. It seems, you know, winning enough to get the king to f6. So I think you could just take this pawn and sacrifice these two pawns to get the king to f6. I think that would be a good plan. And then we win e6, and we've got a much better king. As long as we keep the king, it's trivially won, I think, because we keep the king restricted. We just want to activate our king as an attacking piece. So I think king h2 here. I mean, if he wants to, he could play, I suppose, b4 at any point as well. But this would be quite attractive, surely. I think there's at least two ways of winning this. You can either win with your king, or you can try and win the pawns. But even, you know, it's not just mating the black king. We're just getting this pawn, and this pawn will go through. Now, okay, now Gelfand wouldn't do this. He wouldn't be this, like, he'd probably play rook e4 to keep the king out, and d4, d3 and that sort of thing. So it's not going to be that easy, but that's just an idea. Let's have a look somewhere else. Okay. So a4 is now threatened. This outside passed a pawn could actually be winning. Yeah, the king's just in time here of taking, I think. So I think the king should get ready. Her king should get ready with king f7 at some point. Okay, no, rook b3 first. King f8 to get ready for rook e3, rook e3, king e8, b6, king d7. So I think king f8 or just the a pawn, in fact. Just queen the a pawn. Alright, the rook's going to go to a8. So king f7, rook a8. Did she just fluff that up? I think she just fluffed that up, you know. I've got that funny feeling. We just have a look at this position here. Instead of a3, which allows check in here, what was wrong with king f8? Let's just have a look at this. Or king f7. But even king f8, surely king f8 and black's better. Yeah, there's no time to take here. The king is getting back in time. Yeah? Just to show that. The king's getting back in time. No, it's not. It's equal, apparently. This is like really tricky or something. King f7. Why is king f7 so good? And king f8 isn't? There's an outside pass pawn here. But no, the way it was played was a3. And yes, the evaluation did drop off the check.
Check.
So apparently it's about equal now. So these rook and pawn endings are incredibly tricky. It seems king f7 was actually a critical move here. I mean, it looks dead drawn now, this position. But king f7, how do we actually draw that with white? So what was the improvement there? Rook takes b5. And we kind of... She had the win in the bag. Surely. This is like massively better than what she's got. No, king f7, yeah. I mean, we get to be a pawn up, basically. But white, I think king f8 was not here. Maybe it's the same sort of thing. Even king f8 was better. So that's been drawn anyway. Oh, that's a real shame to waste it in the rook and pawn ending. It's a shame. This a3 looks like a blunder. The rook got behind the pawn. like that. Yeah. Oh, things have progressed here. That looks like white won. So let's have a look at what happened there. Oh, let's go back.
Check.
Okay, so he took on a7. He played b4.
Check.
b5 here. Right. He's about to sack his rook to have the two connected passed pawns. Yep, they're overwhelming the two connected passed pawns. So if rook d8, we just play a6. Overwhelming passed pawns. Sutovsky beat Howell. So was there something dangerous about
Check.
that position? This is Sutovsky's first win, I think.
Check.
So he did get something out of the tournament. He got a win. Now I wondered what was wrong with rook e8 here. If we have a look at engine view of rook e8. So apparently bishop takes... Okay, rook e8. What? Knight h4? I think e6, probably harmless. f6. Right, f6. If that is taken, maybe there's something for white. It's not needed. Just f6. So in the game, we had bishop f3. That looks like a little mistake. Somehow it looks as though... What is this? Apparently b6. Then king d7. So now how's like nearly -2. If he just played the more solid b6, apparently this bishop e7 is quite dangerous. So what happens here with b5? Bishop e7 is just sort of winning a pawn. If knight e6 trying to defend it, then I guess so f5. So he won that pawn. Right, the king's making its way to f6 now. Oh, rook d8 threatened. Oh, crashing through now. So let's see girlfriend game again. Or what's the time's the next round? 9 o'clock. Have we got 20 minutes just to check this girlfriend game again? So this girlfriend game, I thought white was playing sort of computer-like moves at one point. So he played rook c3, a3, fine. I suppose he wanted to just preserve the rook, to avoid the exchange of rooks to keep the tension. So we get this move rook d3, which I thought looked a bit odd. I guess the idea is just to preserve the rook. Okay. Still preserving the rook. Now knight g5. It looks as though the rook is free to swing along the third rank. Taken there. Still looks as though maybe rook g3 and bishop f6 is up to no good. Up to no good with bishop f6. Again, rook h3 looks fairly dangerous, but provision was made for knight f8. Oh, naughty stuff now, starting with rook g3 here as being dangerous. Oh.
Check.
Right. This is really dangerous stuff with this pawn.
Check.
So I think black messed up here big time. Should have played perhaps queen d7 because it keeps the queen out of v7. I think here queen d7 was the engine move. We're keeping the queen out of e7, and it looked maybe attractive to put the queen here attacking these guys, but it seems the queen on h4 is always threatening queen e7, so it went to b6. Then you see this massive evaluation shift. So the point is hg, queen h4. He's played the computer move queen h4, computer approved move queen h4. I don't think queen f4 is any big deal. Well, apparently it's dangerous as well, for a different reason. For queen h4 again, basically for queen h4. And if rook takes g3,
check.
Don't tell me this is dangerous for queen h4 again. Is this queen h4 is the idea in this position? It protects d4 and goes into e7. Okay, so
check.
It's got that winning rook and pawn ending.
Check.
Have we got 15 minutes? Isn't it next round in 15 minutes? Let's check the chat's okay, is it? Okay. Hi. We've got 16 likes on this video. If you do like the commentary, please do like the video. That'd be cool. Thanks so much while we're waiting. I assume the next round's at 9 o'clock. Nope. Actually, I think that could be it for today. Hey, I think I'm not sure there's a round at 9 o'clock. Is there? I mean, that's it. unless I'm mistaken, I don't know. I think I'm not seeing a rounds extra here after 7:30. Okay. In which case, it's been fun. What does it start early tomorrow? Out of interest. What's the pairing schedule? I wonder. So schedules. Starts at 11 a.m. So I'll try and be up for that. Maybe 11 till 1. Then there's a break. Starts then again at 2 to 3:30. 3:30 to 5. 5:30 to 7. 7 to 8:30. 8:30 to 10 o'clock. But as far as this session goes, I think it's finished. So it's a big session tomorrow for the tie breaks and stuff, and the quarterfinals. Then on Sunday it's the semi-finals and the final about 5:30 on Sunday. So okay, I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, maybe see you tomorrow. Comments or questions on YouTube. Thanks very much.